All right. And I've had one person, looks like it's already logged in. Now, let me go over here to 1123. Now, you're going to see some stuff on this screen that's not on your computer. That's because my view, I've got some stuff hidden from you. And I tried today a little bit with a student view in another class, and it just junks up the screen. I want to take some time now that you kind of understand how we're going to handle the course, and talk about navigating Canvas. Now, before I even get to that, you ought to check the messages, because I sent everybody a message in all my classes about attendance. Okay. Now, I can tell if someone's attending and if they're participating, and if they're not, I have to notify the registrar's office. How do I know that? Well, first of all, this learning management system will tell me everything you do, when you logged in, what you did, how many page views did you put in assignments. So if you're not participating, it'll show up, and then if you have excessive absences, then that becomes a problem for you, between you and the registrar and student aid, the athletic department, whatever. So log in, do the work, and typically here's how I handle these courses. I'll have exams set up for you, okay? And you can take those exams at any time up to the point that they're due, okay? I have some time limits on them. Then I do workshops where I'm going to show you basically, okay, what we're trying to get accomplished, so you're not fumbling around trying to figure it out. And the nice thing is once I've done that, when we record it, you can always go back and take a look at it. All right, and then I'll probably do the second video tomorrow, which will be another hour and a half for you to look at, and I'll post them over at YouTube. And then once I've got them posted at YouTube, I'll put the link in the announcements. Okay. Yes. Okay. I understand that we've got some folks. I got someone there, and I think I'm going to mute you there for just a sec in terms of your thing on here. Now, so we got somebody dialing in. So if you wanted to and you couldn't be here for this, you could go ahead and participate. And you can see I've got like 5 people, including me, on there. So if you're in if you're out of town or something like that, you can always follow the link, because I'll post it, and you can at least sit in and hear it. If you can't do that, you can always get the video. I've got this set up because I've a couple of things. One, the schoolers are trying to do some things online. The second is I really understand that it's difficult for you when you're trying to maybe pay for school through athletics, to miss courses and put up with that and all that business. So you really don't have to miss anything. If I have this recorded, I can just say, hey, there's the video, go see it, and you can see the steps that we did to perform a certain task or do a case or whatever. Okay? So take advantage of the technology. Use it to your best. Let's talk some about navigating Canvas a little bit, because it's a little different. If you've had a class with me before, you might have used Moodle Rooms, and Canvas is just kind of a different critter. It's a little cleaner look. And I want to start, first of all, with a thing over here called the syllabus. And click on that. And it's a little bit deceptive in terms of the syllabus. Okay? And anybody that's out there, if you're, those of you who are listening to the live cast, do me a favor if you would, and put your phone or your device on mute, because we don't want to hear your barking dog. Okay? Now, this will show you everything that's due and when it's due, the day and the time. Okay? So if you want to always are questioning what's due, then just come over here. It's a little strange. I don't know why they call it the syllabus, but that's what they call it. But it has a list, okay, that shows you everything that's due, and you can work through that, and you'll be able to see. Now, and I'm gonna let's see it. I should get these ordered. And I probably should just put them in an order, but if you want to see, what's due. Now there's also a calendar, okay? And then they have an area up here called assignments, okay? This is stuff that they'll want you that's to be uploaded, all right? So like this case XLS1, that's due on the 31st of August, okay? It tells you how many points it is, when it's due, and you can work ahead on assignments if you care to. There's also, of course, the announcements. So take a look at it for just a second, and you can see, okay, here's where I put in my revised class schedule. I had to change it a little bit, and this is a link to the live class session, okay? And now tonight, what will happen is after we're through with class, I'll take this and convert it to a YouTube video, and then I'll put the link to the YouTube video up there, and then I'll do another screencast probably tomorrow that will give you the full 3 hours of instruction. So I'm trying to just chunk it down a little bit so you don't sit up here for 3 hours like kind of like dead on your feet and not get too much. And you know, there may be some nights when I go only an hour, okay? So you can be here or not. What we're using is what we call a hybrid approach, and my feeling is that if I have this stuff recorded, you know, and you can look at it as much as you want, shouldn't be a big issue for you, okay? I'm more interested in you getting the skills than I'm in worrying about what your grade curve is going to be or something like that. Now, you can click on the thing called assignments. We talked about that. That shows you files that will need to be uploaded. And then they have a section over here called quizzes. And this shows you all of the quizzes or exams that you have. Okay, those are a little bit. They're all online. They've got timed the amount of points. I give you all that information right there to see. Then you have a thing called modules, and click on that. And the modules literally are, now because we go by week, I've got these set up on a weekly basis. Okay, they could be on a topic or whatever. The way I organize is the way I think that your brain works to say, what are we doing this week, what do we do next week, etc. Now, the very first module up here, if you click on the little arrow, it'll show you and a whole set of resources that I have that we're going to be using, okay, and some links to some things that I think will help you. Also have some things about the course expectations, reading of materials, the texts in the course, late work, posting grades. I've got a couple of things here. One is for Harvard Business School. This is a link, and I think if you're going to be a business professional, you kind of want to get used to looking and see what some of the better minds in business are talking about. And then I've got the syllabus for fall and the syllabus attachment. This will show you the point distribution, okay? There's a function paper that I ask you to write, and here's the rubric for it. And then the final part one, and those, and you can see I've got some other kinds of resources. And if you've had a class with me before, you'll see that I use those as we walk through. Now, what I'm going to do real quickly is let's talk about what's in your textbooks, and there are really two of them. The first is this one. Well, warn you how to have it. Solve it. Got the text? I think you have the text. Yeah. I don't believe it because I don't see them. And it's a good idea because these case studies, you need to have the text out, okay? So if you haven't gotten the text, you really do need to do it because you're going to have some quizzes over them. So you need to get this text. Then the other is this one, the few text on Show Me the Numbers, okay? Okay, so those are the two textbooks for the course, and then there's some other materials in that there will be at times I might draw in, but that's pretty much it. Now, let me walk you through the modules, and we looked at here's week 0, and obviously we didn't have class on class started today. So what we're going to do is I want to kind of give you an intro to the course, how to get through Canvas, and we're going to talk about case number 3, okay? And in that textbook, and that's the Solve It textbook, case number 3 is Guardian Roofing Payroll. And I'm going to show you the solution for the case, and we're going to talk about how it's put together. There's no way on this planet that if I told you to go solve it and do it, you could do it, okay? but that's all right. Don't worry about that because we're going to see how it's put together. I think a lot of times if you see a finished product and you kind of see how it puts itself together, you learn a lot more. And one of the things you're going to find out is that, especially with Access and Excel, they're designed to give you breadcrumbs or to show you what you did or what was done to a file to get a particular output or look. So we're going to focus on that. Then we'll talk about, and so we're talking about the course materials. We have a supplemental website, and I really want you to get familiar with Canvas and how it works. Now, one of the important pieces of Canvas is also another area up here, okay? And you'll see this is called the files. And I have all the files in here that we're going to be using in the course, okay? And they're all stored right here. So sometimes you can do a quick search with it, or sometimes you just have to scroll along. For example, let me see if I can find Guardian and find it here. And throw it in here or not? Well, Guardian, I think payroll, Guardian. This is, no, that's not what I want. Well, I may have to do that one tomorrow. I must have forgot to load it in here. Let me show you a couple of things though that we can look at while we're talking about. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Here it is, XLS3 Guardian Payroll. Now, let me show you something about Canvas that's a little different. Because this is a learning management system and it's layered on top of our security, if you click on this just to open it and view it, it takes a long time to get the files open up. So I've found that the quickest way to do it is find what you want and download it to your desktop. Okay? And if you've gone ahead and installed your Excel and stuff, you'll be in good shape. So what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to open this up. And I have two things here. This is the Guardian file itself, the Excel file. And then I have an explanation to show you how we did it. Okay? I don't believe in making a course on trying to guess what I think ought to be on a test. You're here to learn some skills and to understand some stuff, and so I don't want to waste your time playing guessing games. What I really prefer to do is to get you zeroed in on the stuff you need to know. And so this, for example, this case, the XLS3, it's going to be due here. Let's open it up and take a look at it. Okay? And Guardian Payroll is over on page 44 in your casebook. So if you have your casebook, you ought to have it open, okay? So we can take a look at what's going on with that case. Now, this textbook is designed to kind of give you some classic business problems. Yes?
I don't know.
Yeah, try that. Let me make sure also that I didn't hide it. I don't think I hit it. All right, let me go back in here for a second. And XLS3. It says it's published. Oh, pardon me, 3. Okay, just download the thing a minute ago. XLS3, Guardian. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't publish it. Here we go. I'll publish it. My apologies, folks. There it is. Now you should see it pop up. Is it there? Got it? Thank you. Everybody got it now? Yeah, always if there's something like that. Now, as I've converted all this stuff over from Moodle to here, to Canvas, it's been kind of a stretch. Everybody got it now? Okay. Download it to your desktop. okay? And then we're going to talk about it tonight. Now, once we're finished, I want to show you something because we're going to look at this. This is one of the case files. So once you've downloaded that file, click on this thing called syllabus, okay? And go in here and find where it says, where it says upload XLS3 here, okay? That's where you'll upload this file. So far? You with me there? Yes? So that's the file we're going to work on tonight, and that's going to be due. And so once we're finished, you can upload it right there, boom, and that assignment is done. Okay? Yes? I'm sorry? Okay, download it to your desktop, and then go ahead and open it up. And when we're finished tonight, go back over here to the area called the syllabus. Okay? In fact, just right now, if you have the file on your desktop. Okay. You want to put it on your desktop. Who else is having trouble getting the download? And the reason, here's the reason you need to put it on your desktop. If you don't, the system's going to treat it like an intruder. So you need to put it down on your desktop so it's in what we call a native environment for the system. Okay? And once you've got it there, then it's simple. When we're through tonight, upload it over here, okay, where it says that it's due in the syllabus area. Does that make sense? And I also have an explanation for you on this case. All right. Now there's some other cases that are due XLS 1 and 2. They're kind of baby cases. And I've got those solutions for them. And probably what I will do when I do the other hour and a half tomorrow or sometime over the weekend of the screencast is probably go back over this one and go back over 1 and 2 as well and say, here's where to upload and all this. But for now, okay, you should have XLS3 on your desktop, Guardian complete, and then you should also have this. This is a Word doc that explains how we put this together, okay? We all right so far? Now, I'm going to open this up for just a moment, and it's always helpful for us to have the case book open as well. And if you have it there, you ought to have the case textbook, page 44. It's Guardian Roofing Payroll. And what each of these cases do is deal with some type of application that we need, or they cover some typical business problem or type of problem that companies deal with all the time. And so what we're going to do is build some little applications or dashboards, if you will, or use some functions in Excel to figure out how to deal with these types of problems. And this one, and this is over on page 44, they start with talking about the company. Okay, and then they want to do a payroll sheet that includes a rolling payroll that takes into account FICA. Now, as I said before, I would be astounded if anybody would just throw this at me and say, okay, well, here it is, because there's some heavy lifting that had to be done here. But I want to show you what a good workbook looks like, okay, and how we can use some functions and some design principles to give ourselves something worthwhile. And I've got some commentary here for you, okay, that you can take a look at. This one's a little bit crowded, the acuity on the screen. There on page 45, they start to talk about they need this they need to be able to compute the annual salaries, and they give us some data there in that where it talks about 9% of the gross pay is the state withholding. How much is the gross pay in terms of federal withholding? And these are like word problems, okay? They're just simply word problems. And there at the bottom of page 45, they say there are 5 tasks to this problem, okay? And so they start to tell us so they give us the data that they're after, and then they say, okay, here's what we want you to do. And we're going to talk about that as we walk through. And also we're going to talk about how do you put together a good spreadsheet. Now let me say this, a good spreadsheet and a good workbook lets you do two things. One, typically, it lets you take a look at some aspect of company performance. And number two, it tells a story that you may want to share with somebody, i.e. your boss, a shareholder, who knows, okay? And it's important to see that we can use this tool and we can use some functions in Excel to get some stuff done. So we'll see that as we walk through. And I want to start with that because that's the case. Now, over on page 46, they give you some additional problems, some little changes to the case, okay? You with me so far? Okay. Now, again, would I expect you to do this? No way. That's not an insult to you. It's just there's some heavy lifting to work through this payroll and to get everything all pulled together, and especially to get the FICA computed, because that's a rolling number. And let's go over here for a moment, all right? And let's talk about what we're looking at. And if you come down over here to row 3, we're going to see some of the documentation. Every spreadsheet, every workbook and spreadsheet will have a documentation area, and that's what this is. Okay, it lets us know the date it was created. If there are any macros in it, we'll do a macro in here. Macro is nothing more than just recording your keystrokes. That's all it is. And then we move down to some of the output, and we're really working through a process where we have a set of assumptions, and then we put it in, and then we do some input with it, and then we get a result. If you take a look here at this area that's in the salmon, okay, these are the assumptions, all right? These assumption cells are like constants, okay? So let's look at them for a minute. We know that the federal withholding, okay, is 26%. So the gross for a gross salary every month, we take 26% for federal withholding. Okay, the state withholding is 9%. Okay, and what we're going to do is we will use these constants, this area up here, okay, in the input area, which is here, and then some of the out, and we have some outputs as well along here. Now, this is designed to kind of catch our eye and walk us from one step to the other. And we've got the FICA percent, and that's 7.65%. Now, here's why the FICA is so tricky. We take 7.65% of the gross salary, okay? But if you look here, there's a cap on the deduction, and that's $7,206.30. So what we have to do with this payroll register is take 7.6% until we build up to this cap, and we stop. And that's why it's a little bit tricky, okay? Now, we've got a monthly insurance, group health insurance. It's $100. And I have a thing over here called a month counter, and that will let us start with month 1, which would be January, month 2, February, and on and on. You'll see how that works here in a minute. I explained that over there. With me so far? Then we're taking out 7.5% for profit sharing, and then we have a charitable deduction of 2% of their gross pay. So these are the assumptions that we're working on when we take out the deductions of their gross pay when we end up with their net pay. And all of you probably gotten a paycheck, and you've seen you had so much that you made gross, and then you had the deductions, and you had your net pay. That's all that we're going to do here with this. Now, this is a pretty well designed little spreadsheet, and what I've done here is I've also provided you some notes, okay? And you'll learn over the years if you have to do this, or you have subordinates that will put something together for you and send them to you, you'll want to have notes or something. Now, this is the notes. This is the notes feature, excuse me, out of Excel. But you could copy text and insert it there as well. And if it's you, and you're going to present it on the fly, it's probably not a bad idea to have the notes for yourself so you don't forget. Okay, so that's the set of it. That's the assumptions area. Okay, now we're going to move down into the output area and the processing and output area. So what are we talking about? So let me wheel this up here a little bit more. Okay, and we're going to start with the employee, and we got their first name, their last name. This is a banner, if you will, or a header on this data table. When we designed a spreadsheet, a workbook ought to be several spreadsheets that work together, tie together. Then a spreadsheet itself should be just like a book. It has a title, and it begins to bring you down to the main point, okay? And so this is intended to tell us, okay, here's how much you're taking out, and then here's a summative data down here in the bottom that tells me, all right, here's where I'm going to end up with current total earnings. Here's the net pay, and that's all these employees. Because I want to know how much I'm paying everybody, gross, and then I want to know when I take deductions. And I've got to get this right, because if I don't get it right, if I don't take out enough tax or I take out too much, I can get penalized by the government for having done that. So I have to be clear. Now, let's click over here for some of these folks. Okay, let's start with that. And we'll look with Amanda Butcher, and we've got her Social Security number, and then there is her annual salary. Okay. Now we're starting at 0 point. In other words, at the start of January. So she has no prior cumulative earnings. Okay. Now she gets paid 12 months a year, once a month. So she's making 120 grand, and that's basically going to be the H23 times D16, okay? And let's look at that for just a minute. H23 is the we come down here, and this is the monthly gross pay, okay? And D16 is the counter. All right, so we're at month 1. She has no prior cumulative earnings, okay? We're talking about what she earned, because we've just started. This is the first month. So she has now in February, she's going to have what? January's earnings, right? In March, she'll have February and January's earnings. In April, she'll have March. So she has no prior earnings. That's how we get. Now, I want to show you something about this. If you take a look up in the formula bar, you're going to see that the 2 cells that are involved here, okay, I want you to notice some things about them. One of them is that each one has a color. This is what we call a breadcrumb, and this is a way to kind of help us figure out, okay, where did you get the data? Well, I can look for the red cell, and there it is. I can look for the blue cell, and okay, and it's over here. And then I also utilize something called, well, I'm going to use a relative reference point. And I have a full relative reference point here, and here this is an absolute reference, meaning cell reference. When I do a cell reference, okay, in Excel, if I put a $ in front of the letter, that means it stops at that column. It's anchored in that column. So if I had a bunch of numbers in a column I want to add, boom. If I put a $ in front of the number, that's a row. So if I want to work across, I can do that. If I put a $ in front of the number and the column, boom, I've fixed that point, okay? And then notice what we did here. He's got H23 times D16, because D16 is the constant. So we used full absolute cell referencing right here, okay? You'll learn the hard way probably how to do this, because once you've worked with enough numbers over time, you'll go, oh, now I understand. Because when you start getting 100 of these or 200 of these or whatever, and you just want to do a drag and drop, you'll get it real quick. Once you get cell referencing down, it becomes just as easy as just moving your cursor down the row or across, down the column or across the row. Okay, so far so good. Now, I also have something else here's the formula up here in the bar, right? And then we have a display area, all right? And one of the things we always want to make sure is that this is the output, okay, formatted in a particular way, and that's the input. We took the product of those two cells. Now, if I wanted to, I could put these into a different format. So what do you mean? If you look at the top up in the toolbar, take a look up here, and I can tell you that the font is Arial 9. How I know? It's showing. This is designed for you and me, so when we see something like this, to reverse engineer it. You with me? Some people I know who do this and do this very well will almost literally make a storyboard so that they have everything that looks very nicely laid out. It has a flow. Okay? This might be very important for you when you have to do a presentation. Maybe you're going to borrow some money for your business. You're going to do a presentation for your boss. Okay? You'll want you'll see some things over time that you'll want to say, hey, I really like how that looks. And I can tell you, it's also got, I know that I've got the alignment. It's bold. And I'm using accounting format because it tells me that. Now, if I want to play around with the format, I can, and then I can just back out of it. I'm not going to break it. Okay? Once you discover something that works well for you, it's going to be important. Now, there are two stories that are being told here with this spreadsheet. Number one is, okay, how much do my people make? Okay, how much do they make? Each person, and what do they make in total? Then, how much have I got to take in deductions from them? Okay, and then what's their net pay? And many of those deductions, I as an employer have to match them. So I've got to know how much money I got to come up with to match. Now I like to start off with this also so that I get your attention to understand when someone hires you, okay, they're making an investment in you because for every dime of tax that you pay, the employer has to match it. Okay. So not only do that, will you want to get good benefits, but you need to be realizing if you start making 40, 50, 60, 80, 90,000 bucks a year, 100,000 bucks a year, and taxes are being taken out of your check, your employer has to pay that too. Okay, they have to match, and because of that, they put an investment in you. So I want you to understand, and also this should help you understand if you intend to go into business for yourself. Go into it with a clear head and eyes wide open. I remember both of my parents are entrepreneurs, and I remember asking my dad, I said, what of all of your experiences, what did you learn? He said, I learned this. There are three people I work for. And I said, who is that? And he said, first of all, I work for my customers. Okay. He said, secondly, I work for my employees. And third, I work for Uncle Sam. Okay. And when you start making really good money, which many of you will, you'll feel that bite, and you'll have to understand, hey, my employer is making an investment in me because they've got to match all this. So when folks hire you, when you go out and go looking for a job, understand something. They're making an investment in you. It's not just simply what the salary they pay you and the benefits they give you, but also the taxes that they have to pay to match for you. Okay? And always, this is my time also to put in a plug for Social Security. Continue to pay it. It'll be there for you. You don't seem to believe me. It's my God-given right to do what? Lapse into a diabetic coma and be languish around 2 or 3 years, cost an insurance company $5 or $6 million bucks, and drive up all your rates. That's my right as an American. God bless America. I thought you'd break out in applause, but I guess not. Well, anyway, we've got this band up here that kind of says, all right, we got some important stuff. And notice how we have, walk us through with a set headings. And then we've got her monthly salary, and here's her current cumulative total earnings. We're in month 1, January. Monthly gross pay, okay? That's going to be basically E3 divided by 12 because she gets paid every month, Okay, and you'll see again it went. We use that there. We use that expression, or that we use that division to get her monthly salary. Now that could be if she got paid twice a month. It could be by 26. She got paid by the quarter. You know, who knows? But she gets paid by the month, so we take it by 12. Not a big deal there. So far, so good. Here's where we come to the part where these assumption cells become so very important. Here's her federal withholding. Now, if I click on the formula bar, I'm going to see that it's H23, okay, times B12. And notice that B12 is what? It's an absolute cell reference. The nice part of this is if I have a change, let's say the federal withholding goes from 26% to 30%. I just put in the 30%, and the whole spreadsheet's changed. I don't have to go through and do any refiguring. It's all done. That's why you want to build this with assumptions, with those assumptions in mind. Okay. Now we're going to back out of that because it needs to be 26%. And so we've got the federal withholding of $2,600. Next we come to FICA, and here's our friend FICA, and FICA is B13. Okay, that's 7.65. Pardon me, the FICA is 9%. Excuse me. It's H23 times B13. Okay, and that's times the 9%. And there we be. Now we come over to Medicare. And we're going to go down to Medicare, and that'll be B15. All right? And we just keep going across using those constants. And you'll notice the group health, it says it equals B16. The group health is the same for everybody. And here on the group health, I just use what we call a cell reference. I just use a definitional reference. Now, if I wanted to, I could tie this cell or any of these cells into another worksheet just by naming the worksheet name, exclamation, and then the cell reference, and I can tie these together. Okay? Not any big deal here. There's a United Charity. And then we get the net pay, and the net pay is H23, which is her salary, minus all of those deductions. Okay, she's making 10 grand a month. She's taking home $45.40 a month. Okay, so taking a bit of a bite. All right, my friends. So now we know the net pay for her. And it's just simply a matter of following that same pattern for each of the employees. Now, let's change this. And January was the first month. And now let's go to cell D16 and put in 2. Okay? And you'll notice now that she has prior cumulative earnings. In January, she earned her first $10,000. Okay? And at this point, she's earned $20,000 in total. There's your monthly gross pay, and we got her federal withholding, her state withholding, etc. Okay? And you could just walk this up, and we'll put in month 3. Okay? We'll put in month 4. We can put in month 5, month 6, just each month. Now, you say, why are you doing this? Well, if I wanted to project my cash flow, okay, because this is real money. Okay, there's no depreciation or anything like that here. This is real money I've got to pay to the employee and pay the feds and the state and my insurance company, etc. I would want to do some cash flow forecasting to know, okay, when I'm going to have some big bites. Or to have a sense of what I need to come up with every month, because I got to pay this stuff. Now, I'm going to put in month 8, and then month 9, and then we'll do month 10, I'll back out of that for a second. I want to put month 10 up here. Now you're going to notice that some of these people are no longer paying FICA. Why? Because they met the FICA cap of $7,206.30. The government will only take out that much for FICA, okay? Now, it's a little bit different on some other things, because if you're in some certain, and there's, you probably, maybe your parents talk about it, maybe you see it on media, whatever, you hear a lot of chatter about the taxes that people pay, and in the last election cycle, there was all that business about who pays taxes and what. Let me assure you, okay, that unless you are really, if you don't have a legion of attorneys and accountants working for you, the government will get its share of your skin and your hide, I guarantee you, okay? And these people talk about going to a flat tax. Every accountant in the country goes crazy because they're going to lose some clients, okay? And I can tell you, the guy that did my taxes, he just retired. He worked 4 months a year, 3 or 4 months a year, paid his employees a full year's salary, and traveled the rest of the time. I was his last family accountant. He had company accounts, and he's retired now. He's tired of doing it, okay? So there's a lot of those people talk about tax reform out there. A lot of those accounting people go, don't do that. Keep it as complicated as ever. Why? So they can charge you $500 an hour to do your taxes, okay? And of course, we all know what you don't know will never hurt you. But notice here, we've got these folks who, because they're high earning people, still have not paid out their FICA, okay? So they're going to have this much left. Everybody see that? And scroll down when we get to month 9 and 10, where we're at. Now, let's talk about that for just a moment. And how did we get to the FICA? And let's look at the FICA table, all right? Now, I'm going to take this little notepad and get it to the grappling hook and move it over so we can see everybody a little bit better. Now, this uses a fairly tricky nested conditional statement, okay? It uses the if and I give you some explanation of this. And what this does is this uses what we call mini-max operation, where we take the minimum of the maximum amount. And here's the formula for FICA. And then I give you a plain English explanation. Now, if you put something together like this, you'll do this for yourself, I guarantee you, because if you have to do a presentation or do it on the fly, you're going to want to have the notes, okay, to be able to back up what you did. You with me? So you always have that information there. You're telling a story, you're providing some information. And now you see down here, we see for Amanda and for Danny, both of them, okay, they look to be the business owners. I think they are. And we should always, in this country, punish anyone who starts a business. How dare they? I'm just making fun. All right. So you can see how they got that. Here's the conditional statement, okay? And then there's the result set here, and that is cell, what cell is that? That's E39, right? Yep. And then E40 is for Danny. And once that's taken out, and so in month 10 and then in month 11, they'll have been paid up. Oh, no, we got Danny's got to pay one more time. So Merry Christmas, Danny. Let's make it, I'll take that and make it 12. Merry Christmas. And he still is owing, he's still going to have to pay some, he's still going to owe some FICA for that month. So his Christmas bonus is to pay FICA $599.25. And then he'll be done. Now notice that we have documentation, and we used this different color down here to set this table off, okay? This is a nicely developed workbook with a nice spreadsheet, uses pretty much all of the good design principles we want in terms of providing us the information we need, which is how much am I going to have to pay my employees and how much am I going to have to pay the government. Okay? And so I can see that month by month by month. Okay? There's a little bit there to take in, and I understand that. But if you go back and you take a look at it over time, and you can, and remember, you can always come over here and you say, I'm really curious about this. Make sure you upload it to get the credit for the workshop credit, okay? But also you say you want to play around. You won't break it. Take the stupid thing and make some copies of it, do some changes with it, and see what things look like, okay? And you know, it would give me a chance to get on my bully pulpit and talk about, you know, what's the worth of people. Why would people want to earn a certain amount if the more they earn, the more they pay in tax? Is there a problem with that? You know, do people think there is? Okay, there are people who think that if you're rich, you shouldn't have to pay taxes at all. You should make the poor people in the middle class pay the taxes, which is not a bad idea if you are one of the rich people. Okay. The problem with a lot of that is, as opposed to the days of yore when they take that money and put it into a productive enterprise, today it just goes in some kind of, it ends up in an ETF or something like that, off in the ether, and maybe to buy a yacht or another Jaguar or whatever, but it doesn't go back into productive capabilities. Okay? And so that you understand parenthetically, for example, the marginal tax on businesses in the United States in the 1950s was 75% over $5 million. So if your company made over $5 million, for every dollar you made, 75 cents of it went back to the government. Wow. President Kennedy came into office and said, let's cut that rate to 50%. He cut it to 50%, and the economy just went boom, because people put their money in productive enterprises. In other words, they opened their plants, they expanded the line, the production line, whatever they did. Now, this is also the time I like to share with you an important thing, and it's called the equation for a perpetuity. Okay, and let's say, how many of you think that you could live pretty well on 150,000 bucks a year? Yes? Okay, 150 grand, you think you could live on it pretty easy? Not bad, okay? It's not the Kardashians, I understand. Okay, it's not Kanye and all those people. They're interesting people. How did they do it? Why are they famous? Because they're famous. Think about it. They don't shoot hoops. They don't throw footballs. They don't catch baseballs. They can't hit with a bat. They don't get on UFC and stomp somebody in the ground. They don't play professional football. They're famous because they're famous. How did I get that kind of job? Help me, folks. That's living. Okay? 150 grand. And in fact, so we can see it, I'm going to format that number. And I'll put it right here, and I'll do a little formatting with it. I'll put in a comma so I can understand it's 150,000. Now, if you were to take the safest investment that you could make over the past 60 years, your rate of return is going to be about 2.5%. So let's put 0.025. Okay? Now, let's take this figure. Okay? And that's how much you'll have to have in the bank if you want to have your little nest egg and just draw all the interest. 6 million bucks. Begin saving now. Save early, save often. That's what we call the formula for perpetuity. So if I'm going to earn about 2.5% interest on my money in the very safest investments I can make, okay? And I'm going to, historically, I'll earn about 2.5% I need $6 million in the bank. So I take that 2.5% out. So I have my 150 grand and I don't touch the nest egg. Okay. That should be food for thought. When I was 18 and my parents did me a favor, they took me down to the bank and sit down with the guy and he showed me that. And I thought, huh. Okay. So be a saver and an investor. Don't be a borrower unless you absolutely have to do that. Okay. But that should give you some food for thought. Now, look, you should understand that over the years, you'll pay into Social Security. And by the time you're my age, it'll be there for you. You can trust the government. It'll be there for you. So keep paying it in. Okay. I'm going to encourage you to, every time I see it, pay that Social Security. My dad did. He said, keep paying, son. He never drew a dime in his entire life. It was amazing. I was amazed. Okay. Yeah. But he was who he was. Now, that should be some food for thought. So if you've had, how many of you have taken Dr. Reeder's class on personal finance? Yeah, was it worth it? Absolutely. My friends, let me urge you, please, 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 please take Dr. Reeder's course on personal finance. You're going to look pretty stupid if you learn how to handle everybody's money but your own. And it was worth it, wasn't it? It's an excellent course. Maybe you've been to Dave Ramsey or something like that. Maybe you've done something else. But get focused on how you're going to handle your money. Okay. And if you can possibly do it, and this is why I'm so about trying to find ways to give you more convenient ways to do like doing these casts and spending and trying to maybe do some things virtually, is I know you're paying for school. Okay. And I want you to end up like I did when you left school, no debt. Because if you walk out of here with a debt hanging around your neck, it could be like an albatross for the most 10 to 15 important years of your life. From about age 25 to 40 is when you really need to be hitting your stride. And if you got a monthly payment for a student loan, wow. Okay. Now either do that, or if you plan to say, okay, I'll owe 50 grand, make sure it's in a major where you're going to go out and have the kind of income you can make those payments. Because you'll want a house, you'll want a car, on and on and on and on. Fair enough? You have been told. So you'll never be able someday to when you're sitting on the side of the road in poverty as people drive by and splash you with their cars that Dr. Hartman didn't tell you. Be an investor, be a saver, don't be a spender. Okay? Make the most of your time. Now, we've got this jewel, so I've got it here on, and I want to show you one other thing. I also provided you this file that will explain for you what we did. Okay, walks you through the process and explain how we got that done. Okay, now right now I want you to take. You should have Guardian Complete on your desktop. Do you? Okay. Now, I would like you to do yourself a favor and right now go back and click on syllabus, all right? And go to where it says on Thursday, September 7th, upload XLSX3 here and upload it now, okay? You'll have that assignment done. There's so much in here of how this is put together, okay, that I wanted to let you see a really nice, nicely done workbook and to show you something that you can strive for, but also, boom, get you started. Got me covered? Okay? So just upload it. Yes?
When we click on the upload, how do we actually like upload it to the thing? Do we click this assignment up top?
Yep. Anybody else having trouble uploading their work? Just submit the assignment. and it's there. Okay? So far, so good? So, you know, on December 7th, when I go to, you know, put the grades in, and, you know, someone gives me some, you know, sorry, it's late. Yeah. So do it now. Got it? Did you get it uploaded? Got it submitted. Good. Good. Very, very good. Now, we have, he said, well, you got a couple of things before that, like XLS1 and XLS2. So let's go back over to the files, okay? And let's see if we can find XLS1 and XLS2. Now, these are kind of baby cases. And XLS1 starts over on page 25. It's whistle cleaners, okay? And they have you do some stuff like format a cell, and they're going to have you create columns and put names in them and all that. You should have covered that in 1103, okay? Well, let's go through here, and it's going to be, it's whistle cleaners, so it's either going to be under XLS1 or it might be under whistle cleaners. I'm not sure, I don't remember, okay? Let's see if we can find it, and see if we can find it. Anybody find XLS1 yet? Here it is. XLS1 done. Yes. Oh, do I need to publish it? I do. I'll publish it. Okay. So we found it, right? And should have XLS1 done. I published, yeah, yeah, there it is. No, is that XLS? That's 13. Yes, question. Okay, will do. Should have XLS1 on there. If not, I'll load it up. And you know, if you want, you can play around with it, see if you mess with it. Look, they're going to have you do some columns, create some columns, do some work on some formulas, stuff like how to delete columns and rows and stuff like that, which you should already know how to do this. So you want to look. Let's find XLS1 there, and either that or it would be whistle cleaners. Anybody find it? All right. I may not have transported it over here. And that's all right. I'll make it visible so you can upload it. It's not due for a while yet, so no need to get panicky about that. Let me pop over here for just a second. What kind of troubles are you having here? You want to go ahead and save as. No, I don't care. And save it on your desktop. Yeah, and then close it off. Yeah, and you just yeah. Anybody else have trouble submitting that assignment? And I'll get XLS1 and 2. I may not have dumped them over from Moodle when I was working with them, but I'll have them there. They're due end of the 31st, so we're good. Okay. Now, I've got about 25 minutes or so more that I want to go, and then we'll shut it down. And like I said before, then tomorrow I'll add in another hour to an hour and a half of time and going through. I probably will go through 1 and 2. The solutions are just, they're easy money. And then you can see them. And you can watch that. Now, once you'll want to be checking in the announcements, because what I'll do is in the announcements area, after I do a screencast, I'll post it like this one tonight. I'll take it and convert it to a YouTube video. I'll put it and post it over there. See you've got this. See if you got mixed up or something, you've got it to fall back on. Same story with that. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, just very roughly, if you look in the syllabus area, you're going to see that we're going to begin to move through Excel, okay? And then after we've done that, we're going to start to move into some access cases. Access is usually the one that's a little bit daunting for everybody. It's not that big of a deal. I'll walk you through that process and show you how we're going to do that, okay? Okay. So the other I would encourage you is this. And here in the syllabus, you're going to see you've got your first exam is on the first one is the financial ratios quiz. That's that's going to be due the 31st. The financial ratios quiz is drawn from case number 4, okay? And if you look over there, case number 4 is going to be page 47, Dabney Financial Services. And what it's about is the basic accounting ratios, okay? Now we'll do the Dabney Financial Services case, and we'll put that together. And this is an investment company that's taking two companies, and if I'm not mistaken, they're going to compare Walmart and CVS and try to determine which one is a better investment. And you say, okay, why are we doing this? Well, we're going to learn about accounting ratios. Accounting ratios are a tool that lets us compare companies who are in the same industry, but maybe not the same size, maybe not the same kind of circumstances. Ratios let us wash data. They let us clean data up. I'll give you a real quick example. Let's say that I have a company that makes $100 million. It sets a goal to have a 10% increase in its revenue. How much will it make the next year? What's its goal? $100 million this year. We want to grow by 10%. So what do we want to have next year? What's 100 million times 1.1? You have calculators in front of you. You've got Excel in front of you. So if I have $100 million this year, I make 100 million. I have 100 million in sales this year. I want to have a 10% increase. How much in sales do I want to have next year? 110. Exactly. Now that's 10% growth. Pretty good. Okay. If I have a $500 million company to grow 10%, how much more do I have to have the next year? 50 million. So I want to use the ratio to wash those data and to take the distortions out of the size issue, okay? So I can really turn them into apples or oranges and compare them. For a company, you know, it's tough for Microsoft to grow beyond 4 or 5% a year. Why? Because there are trillions of dollars in, well, at least billions of dollars in sales. And hey, jumping above that hurdle is pretty good. But you have a company that's a $100 million company, hey, they can double or triple sales, and you go, boy, they're doing so much better. That's why those things can be very deceiving. So we use accounting ratios to put the numbers into perspective and to compare. So that case, Dabney Financial Services, is all about that. So that first financial ratios quiz will be drawn from that case number 4. And if you got your book and you take a look at page 48, 49, 50, 51, you'll see where they show you the types of ratios, okay, and how they're computed. And they typically want to know, okay, are we solvent? How do we handle our cash flow? Second, are we borrowing too much money? Do we owe too much money? Third, are the owners getting the kind of investment that they should be getting for this investment if I had one of a similar risk? In other words, if I put money into one company and it has the same risk as another, whichever company pays me the better return is the one where I want to put my money, because I'm getting better earnings. So those ratios, and those are kind of the classic accounting ratios, that's what that ratios quiz will be about. Okay? So you should be ready for that. And we'll work on that case a little bit, but the case itself, but the quiz is drawn from that. Okay? So we'll want to take a look at that. So you want to see what's due? Boom. Okay? And this one I just haven't edited it out. You can see I've got some rough spots on this because they told us in the spring or late summer, early summer, basically, we're all going to Canvas. I said, okay, great. So I had to dump all the stuff over. I still got some rough spots, and I apologize, but we'll get them ironed out. Okay. Now, I'll find or make those first two cases visible. In the meanwhile, I say, well, what should I be looking at? Well, I would look at those cases 1 and 2 just as kind of a review. All right. And there are some files that you can work with. Now, I want to find the student files for you. Oops. And let's scroll through here. And I have the skeleton files for these, and I have them in a zip file for you. And let's see if I can find right here. Here's case 3. I should. More to do, obviously. All right. Okay. There's whistle cleaners. I'll make that visible. I'm still kind of working through this myself. And let's see. I want to have the zip file that has all the skeleton files for these Excel cases. I'll find them, have them there for you. When I say the skeleton files, they're the ones that you use, and the authors are assuming that you're going to do the work and input and all that. I might find them over in the modules, so let me pop over there in the modules or in the course resources. Look over there as well. And this is the course resources area. Here it is, the Solve It student files. That has all of the different files in it, and it's in a zip file, and you can download it, and you'll just simply pull out 1 and 2, 3, whatever you need to do. I'll open it up and show you here real quick. My apologies. I broke my rule. I want to go back to files, and I want to download this. And now download these. You little weasel, you're not going to be nice, are you? Oh, here it is. I'm kind of learning this as I go along too. So you'll see them all there. There's the name of the cases. They're in a zip file. My apologies. They're over in that modules area. Okay. So case number 1 is whistle cleaners. There it is. Case number 2 deals with Athena beauty products. And there's the Athena. Okay? All right. What other wisdom do I want to try to impart on this? Okay. Oh, okay. Did everybody get the message I sent you about attendance? Take a look at that. The reason I sent it to you is because the registrar yesterday sent out a very specific and tersely worded statement to all of us to keep attendance. So the ways I keep attendance are Okay, I can pull analytics on every one of you. How long when you logged in, how long you were, what you did. I look at that. Okay, i.e., are you participating? Are you here? Okay, whether you're joining us, like we have some folks out here, got 4 or 5 people out here who joined us. Okay, and especially also if you're turning in your assignments, like taking the quizzes and uploading your work. So each week I have to click, yeah, you attended. Okay. And if you're not logging in, you're not doing that stuff at a certain point, I have to contact the registrar's office, and that's when they start to deal with you. This is driven by a couple of things. One's federal aid, okay, and the other is driven by our athletic programs in division NCAA. They have really heavy duty rules about attendance. So we all have to kind of keep track of that. So I will keep track of your attendance, and that's how I do this thing. Did you log in? Did you participate? Did you upload your work? That type of thing. Okay? Well, folks, I think we've got a little bit done tonight. And again, I'll make those, where the skeleton files are for these cases. I'll make XLS 1 and 2 visible, and when I do the other hour and a half or so of a screencast tomorrow, and I'll have it up there for you. Okay? So I'll get 3 hours of your time one way or the other. Just to come a little bit, Would you rather have the full meeting today, or would you rather break it up? Eat the spinach a bite at a time, or take a big bowl at once. It's up to you. So we've come to that time where I ask you a very important question. If you've ever had a course with me, and it's what? Why are you people in my lab? So you have a good one. I'll see you next week. And let's see who I had out here. Okay, Emily, glad to have you out there. If you have any questions, Emily, Grayson, thank you. Kaylee, Tyler, any of you have any questions out there, please shoot me an email, or I can unmute you if you have a question you'd like to ask. Emily, any questions?
No, I'm here with 2 other girls. Olivia just logged out, and I'm here with Kaylee also.
Okay, good.
We were really confused.
Okay,
Yeah, we will never do this online cast again. We'll see you next week in class. We thought we had to log in.
All right, thank you. And Tyler, how about you? Any questions?
I'm good.
Okay. Thanks for beaming in, and be looking for the next screencast. Okay.
All right.
Thank
All right,
you.
you guys take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
And I'll stop the share. And I'll stop the